Every summer, I fly across the country to see the latest builds from a company known for some of the coolest homes in the industry. While I'm there, I like to stop by the factory and sit down with the founder of the company to see what they've been up to. This year, I got a look inside the factory to learn more about what sets their builds apart. All right, I'm back in Brooklyn, Nova Scotia, sitting here at Lloyoll Prefabs with Jonathan Lloy. It has been a year since I've talked to Jonathan, so bring us up to speed. What happened over the last 12 months for Lloyoll Prefabs?
Yeah, what a big year for both of us. I've been following your travels.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, really cool. Here at Lloyoll Prefabs, we've been growing the team. We've kind of shifted our focus to a more expansive line of model homes, and I think we talked a little bit about that last summer. And it's really resonated with our client or our prospective client. Not only that kind of more opulent entertaining space that we've kind of built into the lodge, but the ability to expand the home, whether you do it all at once or whether you do it in the future. So our focus are by the market. You know, we're kind of driven by the market. That's what has answered that they like that flexibility. We've allowed some room, created more room for customizations within those models, which also we've had a really good response to. So we're leaning heavily into that. It's helped sales. Our reach geographically has grown. We have a lot of sales into the United States, which we're really excited about. We've made some great contacts down there, met some great people down there, had some really positive delivery experiences so far.
Okay.
And exciting, as per usual.
Yeah, definitely. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So just to clarify for people that maybe aren't familiar with the lodge model that you've got, you mentioned that it's something that can be added on to, but what comes as the main lodge, I guess?
Yeah, so the lodge, we call it the lodge core. And we've got the Lodge 14 and the Lodge 16, and those numbers are describing the width. And they're essentially the same layout. The 16 is just an expansion, it just kind of grows everything. So the Lodge core includes an opulent one bedroom with a focus on long-term living, so more storage, more closet space, a dresser, drawers, mirror. Also, the bathroom tends to be an ensuite bathroom. You can make that bathroom available to the entire lodge, or you can segregate it to the primary bedroom. Either case, it goes primary bedroom, ensuite or public bathroom, and then into the kitchen. The kitchen opens up, so immediately you have your big patio doors, which is typical of us, but you have an island in that kitchen. And the island creates this traffic flow where if you have an outdoor grill, it's right there. The island's your working surface. The fridge is right there. The sink is right there. So we're making that triangle that you want in a kitchen. And then we duplicate that on the inside because we've got your range kind of on the opposite end of where the outdoor grill would be. So you have your inside triangle, whether you're grilling inside or outside. That kind of like looks down to just a wide open lodge. Now you're gonna look down across the dining space, which is another new one for us, a formal dining space, across the lounge. And the lounge is a celebration of two things. We wrap the whole thing in glass, but we also give you a bunch of space for a fireplace or an entertainment center or both. Another area where our customers really like to bring their own touch to the, what do they like? Do they like cozy? Do they like to read a book? Do they like drama? Do they want to just celebrate their surroundings and then just have this massive fireplace in the middle of it? So we just kind of lean into what suits their property, what suits their personality at that point in time.
Okay, gotcha. So then what can be added on? So basically you start with the main lodge, and then you can add these different pieces to either get it up front or as a family grows down the road, I guess, right?
Yeah. We've been having fun with that.
Okay.
And so partly, if you go on our website now, we have an expand your home section, which is food for thought. So we always send people there. We have baseline pricing for all of those expansions. And that gets people thinking about what, how to expand, what you could do, what the possibilities are. But, since then, some of the expansions have really been customer driven since then. We do have more flexibility in design when it comes to private wings, studios, offices, bedrooms. These things are less engineered. They're lower cost per square foot than your kitchens and your bathrooms and all those like really intense areas of the house. So, you know, whether you want a 1-bedroom expansion or a 4-bedroom expansion or 2 offices and 2 more bedrooms, we can do all that. And we might change the shape of it to really optimize now your property. And of course the traffic flow inside. And then into the background of all that, we're gonna work in the flow of your day-to-day life. Like what's it like to get from one space to another?
Yeah.
Do you wanna keep this wing and maybe the loud kids way over there and have your own bedroom and studio way over here?
Yeah.
So these are the fun conversations that we're having that are really like driving this whole next generation of Loyoll expansions.
Yeah, that's a great idea. One thing I found really interesting, we were talking before and you mentioned it just a second ago, was we're in Canada, but I think you said 70% of your business over the last 12 months has been down into the United States. And obviously this isn't a political YouTube channel, but what does that mean for people? There's a lot of talk about tariffs when it comes down to getting a home from Canada into the States. What's involved with that, with everything that's going on, I guess?
Yeah, so, I mean, certainly like the whole thing, you know, in this January gone by, 2025, started out with a lot of anxiety for everybody just because through uncertainty. But surprisingly little has changed up to this point. Our homes are USMCA compliant, so they comply with the current free trade agreement. That's being honored by both of our countries at this point in time. So it's business as usual. So far. Now it is up for debate on what it's going to look like going forward. I have a high level of confidence that there's a real strong inertia towards maintaining and preserving the great trade relationship we have. There will be some adjustments, and you got to respect what your neighbor wants to do. And you know, I think housing though it's an issue for both of our countries, for both of our societies. And I suspect that that's an area that they're most likely going to stay away from as much as they can. And everything I've learned in the last little while has led me to feel even more optimistic about that.
That's great news. Okay. Now, one of the things that people always ask for in the comments is they want to go more in depth than the information that I might have when I show up to a home to show them what's available. So I was wondering, you said you've got some stuff that's fairly wide open on the floor right now that we could go check it out, and you could show people exactly what you're building kind of behind the walls if we could. Do you want to do that? Yeah,
I'd love to show you around and kind of get into like the nuts and bolts of what makes a home unique to a delivery destination.
Okay.
Because while our brand and architecture can stay pretty consistent, you know, when we deliver to Grand Mesa at 12,000 feet, we're considering different snow loads than when we go down to Virginia, for example.
Definitely. Okay, let's go check it out.
All right.
On the factory floor, they had a lodge model under construction that would be heading to West Virginia. A perfect opportunity to learn more about how they're built.
So this is a little peek behind. You really got to use your imagination at this stage. You can see like we've gone with a rough sawn, like a more rustic hemlock timber here.
Okay.
Jessica has actually notched the timbers so the windows, when they slide in, they don't need a trim. The window frame itself goes right into the timber, and the timber is the trim.
Ooh.
So we're talking some precision planning here on her part, right?
Okay, yeah.
Knowing exactly how that's all going to play out.
Yeah.
And what you're looking at above us, we give this nice solid substrate. One of the things people always get a kick of when they walk into our homes is how we mirror the floor and the ceiling.
Totally.
Yeah. And so in order to do that, we need a solid backer up there. Behind, like what you can't see up there right now is more of this. We've got an engineered rafter system. We've got continuous, you can see that orange line there?
Yeah.
Those are 48-foot beams. They're continuous from one end of the house to the other. No splices, no breaks anywhere.
Okay.
They're in the floor system as well.
Okay.
So however long your house is at Loyoll, that's how long your beams are.
Okay.
The beams are in the ceiling system. That's how we get the ceiling boards to go right into your window. No need for trim, no need for headers. You know, we've we've taken the structure, we've put it in the floor, we've put it in the ceiling. We've left this as like our canvas here, basically, right? Open you up to your view, give you some room for art, for media, for all those things that you're going to prioritize.
Okay, that's awesome.
You'll notice too, like, you get to look in behind this wall. That horizontal row of blocking, there's another one at the bottom. It plays a big role in our structural strategy here. So we take the structural sheathing of the home, it begins at the bottom of the floor assembly and comes up and ties into that. The next row actually begins at the top of the roof assembly and then ties into that. So we're taking these walls, which would be a typical exterior load-bearing wall, and we're doing all that, but we're kind of turning them into a giant truss that locks the platforms together. So instead of having like a platform and a hingey wall system and then another platform on top of it, we're kind of building a diaphragm here instead.
Okay.
In lieu, we're considering shipping this. Well, this is going almost 3,000 kilometers, or almost 2,000 miles, right?
Yeah.
This has got a long journey. We got some major glazings in it, and plus we got to consider the seismic loading there. It's in the mountains, so the earth might jiggle a little, and everything's got to hold together when that happens.
Yeah.
The other things we'll consider, like in Virginia, we don't have any extreme temperatures to really think about.
Okay.
But this is our opportunity here to adjust that way. So this wall cavity is 5.5 inches deep, and we can fill it, we never do less than 4 inches, but we can bring it all the way out to that 5.5 inches. Every inch equals R6.
Okay.
R6, like the thermal resistance value, just tells a little bit of the story. Like, what's so good about this insulation, besides the uncalculated structural benefit, obviously, that's there. There's also the way it seals. And we often think of hot air as rising, which is true, but heat energy is looking for cold. And if it finds a way to get to cold, it doesn't care what direction it goes in that direction. And so this seal is what makes this insulation the industry leader in insulation by a wide margin. There is no bat insulation, there's no blown-in strategy out there that even comes close to the efficiency and longevity of the high expansion spray foam insulation.
Cool.
And that's why. It's the seal that it provides and the efficient use of space for thermal value.
Got it. Okay, so what's going to be going on top of this then?
Yeah, we're going to do a solid tile backer on this one. Because of the fireplace, we're going to have to build some fire resistance into this wall, so we'll use a type 5, I think it's called, but it's a 5/8 fire resistance drywall. And that'll be the backer for our board form tile. Okay. So the board form tiles from Calgary, they're a really cool company out there. They're actually like hand making these tiles, pouring concrete fiber reinforced onto rough sawn boards. So when you pull them out of the form, you get all the wood grain in them, the knots and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, they're rad looking tile actually.
Awesome. Anything else interesting that you can see right now in here?
Well, down here, like I said, you do have to use your imagination to picture people hanging out, living here. It's still really raw, so we're still going to have to use that imagination to picture it all.
We can do it. Well, that concludes my visit to Nova Scotia for 2025. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.